All right, you know what it is. This is the Big Douglas Show. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Rapper Big Pooh is in the co-host chair. Big fella, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Another Monday morning. A cold one, but another one.
And our special guest today is London Fletcher. London, thanks so much for hopping on with us today.
Oh man, thanks for having me.
It is the Pro Bowl was this weekend. Either one of you gentlemen waste your time watching that thing?
No, I did not.
I didn't watch it. My son, he was checking it out, but I did not watch it. I was watching golf actually. It's from the everything I was reading on social media, didn't seem like the game was too competitive. Not a lot of physical tackles taking place out there, but I guess it was entertaining, and that's all you can ask for.
I had seen comments maybe doing a runners-up game instead of the Pro Bowl. That would be so this year it would have been the Chiefs versus the 49ers for some split of a large pot. London, can you see players being interested in something like that?
Anytime you throw a little bit of money in the I guess equation, I guess you can get some interest. It's really about players just taking more ownership of the game and saying, you know what, we need this to be more competitive. We need it to be not just like a touch football game and things like that, but just make it more competitive. And somehow, some way, they have to fix that.
London, what did you think of the skills competitions that they had going? I believe it was the day before the Pro Bowl. What did you think of those?
Man, I told you I didn't watch any of it. I did see I guess the 40-yard dash with the Micah Parsons and the cheetah Tyreek Hill and Nick Chubb, and who was the fourth guy in that race? I can't remember who the fourth guy was in that race, but I saw that and that was more just seeing the highlights. I didn't watch it, man. I was just looking at other things. I think I was watching NBA basketball or something.
Gotcha.
Chris, hello.
What's going on, fellas?
Thanks for joining us, Chris. What time does that 1:30 start?
Man, my bad, bro. I just got back in the crib, man. My bad.
Man, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I'm sorry, Fletch, man. I'm here to make it happen, baby.
Listen, be a pro all the time.
Sir.
1:30 means 1:25.
You right.
No. If you can't be on time, be early.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Captain off the field, on the field.
I told you, Fletch, get you right all the time.
All the time. I love it. I love it.
London said we were going to have to start fining you for being late.
I know, right?
All right, start finding them.
London, let's talk a little bit about the Commanders. You guys were there this weekend for the launch. How did you find that it went, and what do you think about the new name?
I thought it went well. It was tough when you're, as far as keeping it a secret, when you have so many different components that were in place and different people. Anytime you're tasked with multiple people knowing a secret, it's going to be hard to keep it under wraps for such a long period of time. And obviously, it got out more sooner than the announcement, or before the team made the announcement. I'll tell you this: the Commanders, it was not my first name choice. I will admit that. I was a big Red Wolves fan, but I will say this: the more I kind of accepted the name, it's kind of growing on me. And I actually was, kind of thinking back. You look at some of the names in the past and some of the other teams, and whether it's the Cleveland Browns. I'm from Cleveland. I'm sure that wasn't a popular name when Paul Brown named them the Browns or the New Orleans Pelicans. Think about years ago when they became the Pelicans. You're like, man, what is that? And there's several other names throughout history where you look at, I don't know how I feel about that name, but they're just normal to us. And as we get more used to the Commanders name, we'll start to embrace that. But at the end of the day, you want to be associated with being a winning organization, being a winning franchise, and Commanders want to be synonymous with winning.
That's right. You win, and that quickly becomes a non-issue. It's interesting. They said they tried for the Wolves. What else was on that list that you thought might have worked?
tell you the truth, I didn't. It was the Red Wolves, and I didn't pay attention to anything else.
Right.
I saw a bunch of the names, but that was my first choice, and I didn't have a second choice after that. I sat in on some of the Zoom calls and the kind of feedback from former players and current players in terms of, hey, what do you think about this name, this logo, this deal? And it was Red Wolves or nothing for me in terms of looking and kind of approaching. And I was on a call with the Commanders as well. Again, it wasn't my first choice, but I've embraced it since that became the name.
Chris, I know you were riding around with B Mitch that day. What was the fan reaction, do you think, to the name?
Well, I don't know if it was the fact that we were giving out free stuff or not, but everybody we gave out Commander stuff to, they loved it. But if you looked at the reaction on Twitter, you'll be like, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever." But once we got out into the community and people talked about it, I think once we start winning, they'll love it more. A lot of people brought up the fact that some people weren't so enthusiastic with the Bullets, and then they changed to the Wizards, and then once the Wizards became good again, everyone just drew to it. They started to like it. So once we really build the brand out and we go out there and we put a winning product on the field, I think the fans will fall in love with it more and more.
Did the Wizards get good again and I wasn't told about it?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
No, I'm saying they haven't been great, but they've gotten better. You know what I'm saying?
They were decent. They were decent. They just ran into that monster from Cleveland.
Yeah,
LeBron James back in those years when Gilbert Arenas was playing for the Wizards and Antoine Jameson. They had some good teams. They just couldn't get past my Cavaliers, man. And I say my Cavaliers because right behind me, man. I got. I'm a Cleveland guy, but I do like the Wizards. I cheer for them.
They got Pooh. They gonna be active at the deadline.
The Wizards?
Yeah,
they better be.
They've been playing good this year though, and like I thought they started off really good. They was like #1 in the East at the beginning of the season. I'm not sure where they've fallen to now, but they look like they have a pretty solid team.
They went bad fast.
Yeah, they're like 11th in the East now.
But Cleveland, on the other hand, is sitting up at the top and just made a trade yesterday.
Right.
So, yeah. One thing about Cleveland, man, I've been impressed with the way they play defense. That young team, Bernie Bickerstaff Jr., he's done a great job with that team. I mean, the way he's coaching them, those guys, they get after you defensively. And man, to add Karis LeVert, it should help the Cavs in the long run. I think they're only a game and a half out of first place in the East.
Oh yeah, they're sitting right there. They're right there.
Bro, we keep talking about the Cavaliers being good without King James, man. That just doesn't sound right.
Hey man, it is.
But I can see,
times change.
Back when his son get into the league and they both playing for Cleveland, I think that'll be a dream come true for him. He end his career in Cleveland with his son.
This Cleveland team feels like the early '90s with Brad Daugherty and Larry Nance and those guys running. That's what it feels like to me, where it's not like a super mega star on the team, but they just play good ball.
It must be nice for y'all folks to grow up in places with pro sports teams. Us in Connecticut, we don't have no pro sports teams.
Yes.
We have to go out rooting for the UConn Huskies women's basketball and men's basketball.
That UConn women's Husky is y'all pro team.
That's it.
That is the pro team.
We almost had the Patriots, though. We almost had.
Right. I met J.B. Bickerson. I called him Bernie Bickerson Jr. J.B. Bickerson.
They brought back a whole lot of folks for the relaunch. Were there any guys that were there that surprised you? Said, "Oh, hey, I hadn't expected to see you here," or did y'all pretty much know who was going to be there?
Man, I was super surprised. I haven't seen Alfred Morris in so long. And then
Rack. I was gonna say Rack was there. That one shocked me. Yeah,
Rack hasn't been back to DC since he left. So this was it was really surprising when I saw him. But it was great seeing him, Jordan Reed. it was so many guys that were there that I haven't seen in so long, and it was just really good to lay eyes on. I got to see Pierre again. A lot of guys that I even played with was there. So DY was there. So we had some good times just reminiscing on old teams and talking about old coaches who are now head coaches everywhere. So it was great conversation. It was great time to be around those guys who I haven't seen in a while.
If I have to see one more meme about all the assistant coaches on this staff that are head coaches somewhere else,
Yeah.
Which is amazing because those teams
staff with like 9 head coaches.
Yeah. That's amazing when you think about just when Mike McDaniels being named the head coach of the Dolphins yesterday. I'll tell you what, Mike Shanahan put together a heck of an offensive staff.
He
When you
did.
look at all those guys who have ascended to become head coaches, and they were all young guys too at that point in time. And I remember there was a lot of backlash about those guys being younger and a lot of them being kind of Kyle's friends or affiliated to Kyle. But man, many of those guys have ascended to become head coaches in the National Football League.
Well, it wasn't for the lack of offense on those teams, right? It was the defense, as I recall, that never quite came together. What was that staff like, and what do you recall from that side of the ball there?
Well, the first couple of years, the offense was kind of limited. You got to think we had quarterback issues. We went through several quarterbacks before RG3 got here. Defensively, one of the big changes that kind of hurt us is we went from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and it's just a different mindset when you're playing a 4-3 to a 3-4. Lot more attacking type of defense than we were with the 4-3, and we were top 10 defense my first 3 years in Washington. Then you go to a 3-4, and it was more of a kind of a two-gap 34 defense, and it's all predicated on blitzing and getting pressure from the outside linebackers, and Chris Baker, the nose tackle, keeping guys off of me when he.
That's right.
And I got a story on that when he's available to play. So it's just a different mentality. There's usually when you have an overhaul on a defensive philosophy, when you go from a 4-3 to a 3-4, there's a time when you have to just get the type of personnel that fits the scheme that you want. So there was definitely a time period of adjustments.
Go ahead.
But as far as Chris and his job as a nose tackle, so Chris was on the practice squad, I think, for a year and a half, and he was doing great on the practice squad and causing a lot of havoc in practice. And it's just a matter of time of when he was going to get elevated to the active roster. And so they finally elevate Chris to the active roster. I think it was, I don't know, maybe December, some point in time of the year.
Patriots week was playing the Patriots.
So Chris sends me a text. It's like, hey man, I'm up. I ain't gonna let anybody touch you. You about to make all these tackles. I ain't let nobody touch you. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm about to go off in these games. I'm about to eat. So fast. Now this is a Monday. We get to practice on Wednesday, and we have a walkthrough. At LA Fitness.
Yep.
Chris doesn't make it through warm-ups. He blew out his quad.
I thought I was athletic, man. I wanted to show everybody how athletic I was, man.
So this guy blew out his quad in warm-ups. I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me, man. What? You hurt yourself in walkthrough?
Yo, that was the worst feeling ever. That was the worst feeling ever. I finally got my shot to play and tore my quad trying to warm up before practice.
Hey, but you got to tell them about, you being from Connecticut and sending the text to your people's or Facebook.
Yeah,
phone.
man. So I finally got activated. Everybody been waiting for me to get back on the active squad. So I sent out a message. We was getting ready to play the Patriots. So I say, y'all watch out for me on Sunday. I'm finally active. About to go out there and play the Patriots and beat the Patriots. I'm finally about to play for the Redskins, And the next day, told my damn quad. I
Wow.
thought my career was over, man. I thought it was over.
Oh,
That
wow.
offseason was great, man. I got a chance to really get myself in really good condition, and from that point forward, I pretty much played and became an impactful player for the team.
London, if I did my research right, 39 sacks for you. You have one that stands out more than others?
Ah, man, that's the first time I've ever been asked that question. Not, not offhand, not that I can think of. Yeah, I've never thought about. I I wish I had one more so I could have got to 40. That's probably the only thing that I can remember about my sacks is I wish I had one more. And it was funny that last game against the Giants. I started to blitz when I wasn't supposed to. I'm like, man, I'm finished. I'm retired after this. I should just blitz. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it now.
And Swaggy, 19 for you. Do you have one that stands out?
One that stands out was I think it was my hardest sack that I got. It was against the Giants, and I came free through the middle, and I crushed Eli Manning. I mean, I hit him hard, and I just remember when I hit him, and we was in New York, their whole stadium just had that sound. It was like, ooh! And it's like it just sucked the air out of the stadium. And I don't think his career was right ever since that hit because he was concussed after that, and they still let him play.
London, I'm interested in. We always ask former players. We get Swaggy's opinion all the time on this. But what do you, watching the defense last year, what do you think are some of the things that were missing from that particular iteration of the defensive team?
Just watching early in that the defense early in the season, one thing, there was a lack of communication on the back end. It was a ton of explosive plays where you'd see guys just running wide open for a 30, 40, 50-yard touchdown passes. So there was a lack of communication on the back end of the defense. And then from a defensive front and our defensive line really being where the talent is on that team, they didn't seem to be working in unison when it came to stopping the run and also rushing the passer. And you could have 5 great individual talented players or 4 great individual talents, but if they're not working in unison, you can have a situation where you're not getting the sacks, you're not getting the pressure, you're not getting out the field on third down. So and then linebackers as well. I don't think they covered as well. So just in every level, there was maybe a little bit of not working in unison, communication, and then also, quite frankly, guys not making plays when they were called upon to make plays. But as the season wore on, they had a stretch where the D-line started to work better in unison. The communication on the back end got a lot better, moving Landon Collins from safety to closer to the box and playing that hybrid position. It seemed to help the defense as a whole. So those things tended to work out for the defense in the second half of the season.
Hey, and just a quick question, being that you played linebacker and you played early in your career, with the first round draft pick that Washington has, can you understand any reason why they wouldn't play their first round linebacker in a struggling defense?
Just watching the games, and I watch all of them, I thought first and foremost you have to go back to his responsibilities in college. He was a outside linebacker, kind of in a more of a pass coverage linebacker. In the SEC, we know how college football is now.
Right.
A lot more pass oriented. So his responsibilities were totally different when he played in college at Kentucky as opposed to he came to Washington, and now they're moving him to the middle linebacker position. He's responsible for making the defensive calls, getting everybody lined up, and also manning the middle linebacker. And that spot is totally different. You're looking at the defense or the offense from a totally different angle. You have to be able to kind of see both guards, and as opposed to being in a situation where you're looking at tackles and maybe a tight end. So it's just a different dynamic that he had. So there was the new position, new responsibilities, and teams are attacking you totally different than he was used to in college. I thought later in the year he played a lot better. He was able to play more instinctive, and also when you're unsure, you're going to play slow. So one of the things that he came into the pros with was great speed and athleticism. But if you're kind of hesitant a little bit, you're not able to showcase that. As he got more comfortable, he was able to showcase that and make plays down the stretch. He'll be a lot better next year with another year under his belt, with another offseason under his belt. So those things will all lead to him having a better season in the second year.
Were you surprised, London, that the coach already had said that maybe he wasn't fit for middle linebacker and they're just going to play him outside? I was a little surprised that we were already making that kind of decision.
Not being in the room, not being in the meetings, and knowing what kind of scheme they're running. I can't speak to that. I know, Coach Rivera, he played linebackers. He's coached some great ones in his past. Couple of Urlachers going to the Hall. It was already in our Hall of Fame. Coach Lance Briggs, Luke Kuechly will be in the Hall of Fame. Thomas Davis had a great career, so he knows linebackers. And I think they want to put him in the best position where they feel like he can excel best at.
If he's not suited for middle linebacker, do they need to take, like a lot of people are saying, the kid from Georgia, Nakobe Dean at 11? You think they need to draft middle linebacker, or that's better suited bringing in a veteran?
I think in the first round we got to figure out our quarterback situation first and foremost. Figure out the quarterback situation, and then whether if you're able to get a guy in free agency or via trade at that quarterback spot, then you're not in a situation where you have to draft a quarterback at number 11. And I don't even know, if there's a guy that you feel is worthy at number 11. After that, you look at your team as a whole and say, all right, what are our other needs? And linebacker seems to be still a need there. I'm not sure what other positions, whether you're looking at a safety, a free safety, or whatever the case may be. So from there you just draft when your needs and the player evaluation meet, and you pick the player that you feel best suits those needs.
It's Super Bowl week, dude. Do you guys still go out to the Super Bowl? Do you enjoy going out for Super Bowl week? I've heard mixed reviews from players on whether it's actually a good time out at Super Bowl week.
I know when I was younger, I went like every year. I haven't been in the last couple years, but it was definitely a fun time, especially as a young player, being able to go to the NFL hosted parties and being able to do Radio Row. It's a lot of networking that can be done if you really take advantage of it. There's a lot of people that you will be around that you probably won't be able to see during the season that you could build relationships with if that's what you choose to do. But now, especially with Corona, we still do events anyway, but I don't know how they're going to do all of the events down in LA and everyone stay safe and away from Corona and stuff. But it'll definitely be a great experience for a lot of guys. You can meet a lot of people, build relationships with a lot of people who you normally probably wouldn't see on a day-to-day basis.
I haven't gone to a Super Bowl where I wasn't working in quite a while. I do broadcast for CBS Sports Network, and since I've retired, we've hosted, I think, 3 Super Bowls. And so we did one in San Francisco, Atlanta, and also Tampa Bay. So I've gone there, because of work. But it's besides that, beyond that, once I retired, I haven't gone to Super Bowl just as kind of networking or anything like that. Maybe my last one where I wasn't in a working capacity was the one in New York, which is 2014 Super Bowl. So after that, ever since that time, it's more about, hey, if I'm not working and getting paid to go, I'm not going.
I'm interested in what you guys think of the matchup for this year's Super Bowl. Cincinnati versus who they playing? I about forgot already. Cincinnati versus the Rams.
The Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. Yeah. What do you guys think about that matchup?
I like the matchup. I'm a believer in Smoking Joe. I really want to see the Bengals go out there and pull it off. But the Rams do have a phenomenal defense. Matt Stafford is playing out of his mind. And Odell Beckham, Coop, whatever his name is, he's been balling like crazy. So it'll definitely be a hard task. But Cincinnati's been that underdog team that no matter what happens or who's supposed to beat them, they always figure out a way to come back, stick around, and find a way to win games. And in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, you have to be able to go through the fire and know that you can get out. And they've definitely been tested. And hopefully they can pull it out, but it'll definitely be a great matchup.
Yeah, I've been high on Cincinnati all. Well, I should say the second half of the season. I thought they had a chance to be the number one seed in the AFC just based on their record down the stretch and the way they were playing. Young football team. I love what Joe Burrow has been able to do. Jamar Chase has done great in his rookie year. Really like Joe Mixon. When you look at the Rams, it starts with that defense and that front end. Is Cincinnati going to be able to block those guys? When you think about Cincinnati going against the Tennessee Titans and they gave up 9 sacks. Now they played a lot better against the Chiefs, but you got to deal with Aaron Donald and Von Miller. Von's playing phenomenal football. Leonard Floyd and that defensive front. Can they hold up against that pass rush of the Rams? If they can, they'll be able to take advantage of the Rams secondary because they're, besides Jalen Ramsey, there will be opportunities to make plays in the passing game. I'm gonna give the edge to the Rams. You have to think about they're playing at home. They're playing in LA, and the crowd is going to be partisan because when you look at the cost of those tickets, and then not even adding the rooms and all that other stuff, it's an expensive ticket to go to the Super Bowl. So you figure there'll be a lot more Rams fans in that stadium than there will Cincinnati Bengals.
It's gonna be rich Rams fans that don't really cheer. So
yeah, that's true. You got a point there, but regardless of the fact, there's still going to be more fans in there that are Rams than there will be Bengals.
Right.
London, I'm interested to know your thoughts on something. Eric Weddle. Eric Weddle hadn't played all season, effectively retired, and came. Was it the playoffs or was it the last game of the season?
For the playoffs, yeah.
Playoffs,
for the playoffs. How hard is it to do something like Eric Weddle did? And he didn't just play like 10 snaps. He's been playing majority of the snaps on defense.
Yeah.
How tough is that?
Man, that's extremely difficult to do what he did, to be out of football, like 2 years? I don't know how many years he was retired, but to come in and be thrown in the fire. And I know the first game he played, I don't know if it was about 20 snaps or whatever the case may be. But the last couple of games, he's played every snap. So that's extremely difficult. Hats off to him, staying in shape, doing whatever he was doing to be able to play and play well. He led them in tackles their last ball game. So hats off to him. And his football IQ is tremendous because you have to in order to be able to play the safety position where you haven't, like, he didn't play in this system when he was last with the Rams. This is a totally new defense that he's playing in when he was with the Rams last. So it's hats off to him.
London, you won a Super Bowl with the Rams. Are you still with the franchise very much, or how does that work?
They still reach out. I haven't been able to go back to a game or anything like that, and I'm still connected with a lot of the guys that I played with on the team, and a lot of those guys will be out at the game on Sunday. But last time I went to a Rams game, they were still in St. Louis, so I haven't been able to get back to a Rams game since they moved out to LA.
Pooh, what is your go-to Super Bowl dish that you'd be taking to the Super Bowl party?
My go-to dish any Sunday, wings. Wings, like wings, a good
drums or flats?
Flats, man. Flats. I'm a flat guy. And then a good dip, like some type of dip, buffalo chicken dip, multi cheese dip, 7-layer dip. It doesn't matter. I just a dip. Dip of it.
And as the world's largest vegan, Chris can't eat none of that stuff you're talking about. So, Chris, what kind of stuff we taking?
I would go with the Rasta pasta with shrimp. It's a Jamaican-inspired dish, man. It's really good, made with coconut milk and jerky.
Oh, okay, so you still on the seafood?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
I'm not 100% vegan.
You're getting this pescatarian, though.
Hey. I was with Chris last week. I don't think he was vegan on the day.
Yo, that's all we had, bro. I had a couple.
So he's a cheating vegan.
Why you cheating? French fool always trying to put me on the spot, bro. I was tired of eating salmon all night, so I had a few wings, man. Relax, bro. I'm about 90% vegan.
I have a partner like that. We at home, he's a vegan, but when we gotta go on the road, I done seen him eat oxtails.
Y'all ain't right, man. Y'all always trying to put me on the spot, man.
Man.
It's easier to be vegan at home. It's so much easier at home.
That boy Chris. Hey, but they had options for Chris. He chose not to be vegan. He made a concerted effort.
I got you all the way out there.
I ordered 2 salmons.
Tell him, Chris, it's tough when the wings on the table.
It do. I'm saying them buffalo wings was sitting there looking. They were just calling me.
Hey, they were smelling real good. His nose, you can see his nose like just like flaring up. Like, man.
Y'all ain't right.
Y'all ain't right.
Pooh, real quick, since I won't see you before we do this, go ahead and tell us who you got for the Super Bowl 2.
Oh man, I'm gonna go Rams. I think the Rams are gonna pull it out. I think they're gonna have just enough offense to pull it out. And like London referred to earlier, I think that defensive line is gonna give Joe Burrow and the Bengals a lot of problems on Sunday. A lot of problems.
I'll take the Rams too. I don't know how they can. I just don't know how they're going to keep Joe Burrow upright with that front four that they got, because they're going to send him all the time. Do you think it'll be the spread is 4? Anybody think that the game's going to be that close?
I think it's going to be a close game, bro. Like, no matter how good the team has looking against Cincinnati, they found a way to either come back or keep it close. And they've been battle tested. So even though, like, everybody would say, hey, like the Rams are going to win because they have a better team on defense, maybe even a better team on offense, Cincinnati has been tested. They have been through the mud. You know, they've come down from down 17 or won the game or just found a way to win. And that's what you need in the playoffs. You don't need the best offense, the best defense. You just need a team to figure out a way to win. And the Bengals have been doing a good job at that. And I love the underdog story, you know, being that I was an undrafted guy. So I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Love that. All right. Well, fellas, I will see y'all next week. And London, can't tell you how much we appreciate you hopping on the show today.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right,
man. Thank you.
Swaggy. Be on time next time.
I'll beat it. I'll be on time, bro.
Thank you, London.
All right, guys.
All right.
Take care.